Alice was surprised when the lawyer read the will. Her grandmother had left nothing to her, her beloved granddaughter. However, the lawyer handed her a note from her grandmother that read, "For the monument, take my photo from the frame." When Alice took the photo from the wall, she froze. The news that her grandmother was gone hit Alice hard. Although she was no longer a little girl, tears streamed down her face so intensely that even the most stoic person would have felt a pang of sympathy. For Alice, her grandmother was more than just a relative or her father's mother. She was the woman who had become her entire world, a kindred spirit, and her closest confidant. Her grandmother had been a substitute for Alice's parents. They hadn't died, abandoned her, or fallen into addiction. They were ordinary, hard-working people, but for some reason, their daughter just didn't fit into their lives. Her mother gave birth to Alice, and then a year later, to her sister. It was the grandmother who mostly took care of the girls because their parents often worked night shifts. While they always rushed to pick up their younger daughter, Alice often stayed with her grandmother. She didn't understand why this happened, but the fact remained. In her own family, Alice was an outsider. When she was little, her parents paid some attention to her, but as she grew older, that attention dwindled. One day, her mother arrived with bags and money, gave them to the grandmother, and, without looking up, asked her to take care of Alice on her own. The grandmother sent Alice to her room and told her not to come out until she was called. But even from her room, the little girl could hear her grandmother's stern voice and her mother's hysterical words. "Anna, she is your daughter too. What are you doing? Why are you dividing your children into favorites and not?" "Mother, don't interfere. You wouldn't understand. We can barely make ends meet, and this is just the beginning. What about later? Why did I have another daughter? I should have focused on this one." "Mother, that's enough. We'll bring money from now on." The door slammed shut. Alice cautiously came out of her room. "Grandma, is she not coming back?" The old woman sighed, her back stooped with a weariness that seemed to age her instantly. Years passed. Alice was in her final year of school when her mother visited again. "What do you want?" her grandmother asked, not in the mood to talk to her daughter-in-law. Her mother, avoiding eye contact, went into the kitchen. "Alice, go to your room. I'll call you." Once again, she found herself in her room, trying to do her homework, but the voices from the kitchen distracted her. "Mom, Alice is grown up now. Let her come back home." So now you remember you have a daughter? Is the younger one not helping anymore?" "As you know, she's studying. And Alice is studying too. Are you planning to turn her into a caregiver for your disabled husband? You feel sorry for the younger one, but the older one can just ruin her life? Is that it?" "No, Mom, it's not like that. She's my daughter. She's obligated to help us. She owes you nothing. Don't you remember how you left her? Did you ever visit? Did you ever give her a Christmas present?"
"No."
"So she owes you nothing, and neither does my son. He's to blame, and so are you," the grandmother continued. "Go, Anna. Don't poison my soul. I won't give Alice back. And if you keep bothering us, I'll go to child services, and they'll take both girls. Think about that." Her mother left, and that same day, Alice learned some unpleasant news about her parents that completely shattered any hope of reuniting her family. Alice finished the 9th grade and enrolled in college. Her grandmother didn't have money for university, so she decided to finish college first and think about university later. From her grandmother, she knew that her father had recovered and that her sister was planning to finish high school, with her parents paying for her university admission. Of course, it was hurtful, but her grandmother always knew the right words to say, so Alice took the news calmly. She got into university without any trouble but continued to live with her grandmother, who had grown much weaker by then. Alice was driven to succeed and worried if her grandmother would live to see her get married, as she had always dreamed. Fortunately, Alice already had a fiancé who fully supported this wish. The wedding was modest, but her grandmother was there and even shed a tear seeing her granddaughter in a wedding dress. Her parents and sister were also invited, but her sister behaved so horribly that even her grandmother couldn't hide her displeasure. Rushing into marriage? Saving money. Her drunk sister laughed mockingly, poking Alice's stomach. Alice, are you pregnant or something? After the wedding, Alice didn't speak to her sister or her parents for several years. It wasn't out of resentment, but simply because they had nothing to talk about. Her grandmother, however, continued to be a constant presence in her life, even after she moved out. Alice achieved great success. She graduated from the university with honors, quickly found a good job, and even received company housing, where she and her husband moved and began saving for their own home. They offered to have her grandmother move in with them, but she refused.
No, Alice.
I'll live out my days in my own home. I don't want to be a burden. Grandma, what burden? We love you. Maybe so, but my relatives feel that my time is short. They're circling like vultures, suddenly becoming so kind and caring, always offering help.
And why?
Your sister is expecting a baby and has nowhere to live. She doesn't want to live with her parents, and my apartment will be left after I'm gone. So they're sucking up. Alice preferred not to discuss it. She had never been concerned with inheritance and hoped her grandmother would live for a long time. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. Her grandmother passed away before she could see the grandchild Alice was carrying, already 4 months along. She had wanted it so much, but her health failed her. Her mother called to tell her the news. Thankfully, her husband was by her side. He managed to support her and call an ambulance. Everything turned out okay, but Alice was strictly forbidden from getting upset. She went to the funeral and the wake, sitting off to the side, quietly wiping her tears. Then she was called for the reading of the will. She sat far from her other relatives and listened silently to the lawyer. It wasn't that she was terribly upset, but when she heard every name except her own, she was surprised. Her grandmother had left her nothing. The apartment went to her sister. The old Volga that had been gathering dust in the garage for years went to her parents, and to her, nothing. Her sister smiled, patting her large belly. Her mother cast reproachful glances at her eldest daughter. Her father was talking to the lawyer. Alice stood up to leave, but someone called her back. Alice Nikolaevna, wait. Your grandmother left you a letter. The lawyer handed her an envelope. Her relatives craned their necks with curiosity, but she ignored their interest, opened the letter, and read, "For the monument, take my photo from the frame." Alice hadn't thought about a monument yet, but she knew she wanted to erect one for her grandmother. The photograph was beautiful and old. Her grandmother looked young and happy in it, with a bright smile.
Take it.
Need anything else?
Take it, take it.
I'm just going to throw it all out anyway, her sister said, gladly letting her take the photograph. Alice went to the apartment and took only the picture and the photo albums. She returned home and forgot about the photograph for a while. But when it was time to order the monument, she was surprised. Opening the frame, she found a small letter and a tiny key. "My dear granddaughter, I hope you're not angry with me for leaving everything to others. Believe me, I really wanted to leave it to you, but those vultures wouldn't have given you any peace. Besides, what do you need my old shack for, with all the repairs it needs? This key is for you, your husband, and my grandchild. Take it and go to this address." It was a bank, where they explained that the key was for a safe deposit box. Inside, Alice found money, a lot of money, and another note. "This is from me, in honor of the birth of my grandchild. Let your sister deal with the repairs and utility debts. You, my dears, buy yourselves a new, spacious apartment, the kind you've always wanted. Your grandfather started saving this money, and I continued. I love you." Alice cried as she reread her grandmother's note. Her husband cried too, and in his father's arms, little Stepan smiled, as if his child's heart could feel that these were tears of joy.